Carolyn is on the line with us tonight. Carolyn, so glad that you stayed up late with us tonight. How can we help you?
I was hit from the rear by a car and a truck. The truck left the scene, and so they were not able to, the insurance company was not able to recoup monies from him, and neither the car that hit me directly, so he says, because he said the truck hit him. But long story short, when my insurance renewed last month, my insurance actually had gone up $600 because I have my home and my car both insured, and the two combined had gone up $600. Can they do that?
So sorry, Carolyn, about that situation. That is tough. Tell me your answer for Carolyn.
The short answer, Caroline, is yes, they can do that. I tell my clients all the time when I'm asked this question that if your insurance company chooses to raise your rates because of an accident that wasn't your fault, there's a lot of companies out there selling insurance. So I would probably take it upon myself to do a little investigating and find out if I can find an insurance company that would give me a rate closer to what I had before. You know, you're not wed to any particular insurance company, and they do have the right to raise your rates in an accident, even if it's not your fault. But I always frown on that practice.
I'm so sorry, Carolyn. You know, but this seems like the perfect time to talk about uninsured motorist coverage and underinsured motorists. If you're hit, and as she said in those cases, not able to recoup from anyone, just to make sure that she's covered.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a big topic, and actually we've had two things that came up before you mentioned that that I wanted to touch on for uninsured motorist issues. The first one was with the email viewer, Paul, I believe. You know, one thing about these releases is, let's say that you've got a liability release. In other words, the person who hit you, okay, they settled with you for, they might have had $25,000, okay? Well, in limits. Well, they send you a release, and you sign the release. Well, guess what? You may have actually had some UIM, underinsured motorist coverage, okay? That covers you if your damages exceed whatever the liability limits are. Let's say they're $25,000. You may have $25,000 on top of that, or 50, or 100, or 300, or $1 million, or whatever it is. Well, if they send you that release and you sign it, all right, they don't have any obligation to you to say, wait a minute, Paul, if you sign this, then you're also signing away any rights to any of your own insurance, okay, the uninsured motorist coverage, which is through your policy. Okay, you're signing away your rights to that too. And if you don't get a lawyer to look at that, that's not something you're supposed to know. Regular folks ain't supposed to know. They're not supposed to know how insurance policies work. So you could literally right away and lose your rights to a lot of benefits out there just because you just don't know any better. You're just not in the industry.
So that's why Kirby said call an attorney in that case.
Yes, absolutely.
And let them look over.
You know, unless it's a small case and you know they're not paying the limits, but anytime that an insurance company is offered the policy limits in a case, you need to have somebody look at it, because if they're offering the limits, that means, by golly, your case might just be worth a little bit more than that. So it's what we do is we go find all the insurance. It may be from a lot of different sources.
That's great.
Second thing is, what I heard you say is a phantom vehicle left the scene. Okay, that's what we call a phantom vehicle. Well, if that happens, then your insurance actually kicks in. Your insurance policy actually kicks in if you have uninsured motorist coverage, okay? Now, what I ask everybody to do, okay, it's the cheapest insurance in the world, and it's designed to protect you and your family and the people in your vehicle. I ask you to call up, and you'll never regret doing this. I ask you to call up your insurance agent and say, what are my liability limits? And they say, $100,000. Well, I want my UIM limits to be $100,000, okay? Because you can match those limits up to the amount of your liability. Match them, because that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to kick in when somebody hits you or somebody hits a vehicle that some member of your family is in, all right, and they rack up all these medical bills. And I don't know if anybody's had anybody in the hospital lately, if you've been, these bills are out of control. They just are. I don't know any other way to put it. I mean, you could go in there for something minor and come out with a $60,000 bill, $100,000 bill, just like that. Well, now what? So I just encourage everybody to protect themselves, and that, I guess we originally started about UIM coverage, but that's what it is, and that's why it's so important.
Well, and we've got a minute in this show, but talk about the fact that it's not expensive.
It is not
It's not
expensive.
expensive.
People will pay huge sums of money to get the liability coverage to protect somebody else that they may hit, ignoring the fact that UM coverage is something you're paying for to protect you
Yourself, yeah.
and your family. And it is inexpensive. And your insurance company is not obligated to sit down with you and go, Emily, let me tell you about UM coverage because it's really important. They're under no obligation to do that for you. So you need to know about what coverages are out there to protect you.
That's great. That's great.